I have been working on my brain health for over 10 years now. It has been 10 years of waking up every single day and asking myself, how can I be better today? How can I support my brain health today? How can I grow today? These 10 years, more than 10 years of me working on my brain health, I've learned some pretty valuable lessons on how to really achieve great brain health. And some of the learning points that I really want to share with you today that I wish someone told me when I first started on working on my brain health and I first started that journey. This is why I'm so passionate about what I do, because I was that girl who had low self-worth, low self-esteem. I didn't believe in myself. I was stuck in my constant negative state of mind where I just felt worthless. I didn't feel like I was worth a healthy relationship. I didn't feel like I was worth success. I didn't feel like I was worth being loved. I didn't think I was worth really anything. And this is why I was stuck in depression for so long. And I wish that when I first started working on my brain health, someone came and told me these lessons. These are lessons that I have accumulatively learned over these 10 years. And I hope that by sharing these lessons, I can ease this journey towards great brain health for you. Because girl, great brain health doesn't have to be that hard. If you're new to this channel, my name is Dr. Bisleen Atlee. I'm the holistic brain doctor, and I teach women how to optimize their brain health so they can elevate their self-worth and attract the best relationships, build their dream job, and basically live the life of their dreams. Lesson number one that I learned from trying to build great brain health is that the negative voice in your mind will never go away. I wish someone told me this when I first started to work on my brain health. A lot of us, and honestly, a lot of the women that I work with today, even in my practice, they'll come to me and be like, oh, I'm trying so hard, but that negative voice still shows up. The doubt still shows up. The inner critic and criticism still shows up. And the thing is that it's always going to be there. That inner critic, inner criticism is always going to exist. So never make it your goal to fully get rid of this negative voice, because the truth is that you won't be able to. And I spent so many years just trying to shut down this negative voice, to completely eliminate it. And I had no idea, but I was doing it all wrong. I was aiming for the wrong goal. And I'll tell you what the right goal is in a second. But the reason that this negative voice is never going to go away is because this negative voice is very protective for your brain health. It protects you. It helps your mind kind of be aware of your external environment. And essentially, it helps you be safe. That's all your brain cares about. Your brain just cares about you being safe. Your brain does not care if you're happy or successful or whatever else is happening in your life. But as long as you are safe, your brain's like, okay, good job, great day today, we stayed safe. And being safe means that you stay in your comfort zone. Being safe means that you do the same things over and over and over again every single day, even if they aren't the best things for you to do, because that is comfortable, and comfortable is safe for your brain. And so when we want to achieve and really build great brain health, our goal shouldn't be to eliminate that negative voice that pops up in our head. Our goal should be to build strategies in place so that we can quickly bounce back from it. And that's how you know you're starting to achieve really great brain health. It's like that negative voice in your mind comes up and you're just like, nope, not today. Let's keep moving forward. And I have seen myself progress through this over the past many years of working on my brain health, and it's been pretty amazing to see. When you consistently choose to wake up and act regardless of that inner critic, that negative voice showing up, you start to build massively great brain health. That is ultimately the key. Don't try to make it your goal to get rid of this negative voice, because you never will, and you will feel like a failure if you try to get rid of this negative voice. Instead, reframe it. See this negative voice as a friend. Your brain's just trying to protect you, and instead of letting yourself sit and suffer in the negativity and the criticism, get back up, choose to push through it, bring yourself back to a feel-good state. You don't have power and control of when this negative voice comes up, but you do have power and control of what you do about it. And that's what you need to focus on, is what do you do about it? And when you start to build really great brain health, you'll notice yourself bouncing back faster and faster and faster and faster from this negative voice. And that is how you know you're becoming a high value, powerful woman. When you choose to get back up despite what this negative voice, despite what this inner criticism inside you is telling you to do. So really focus on making this be your goal. Make it your goal to bounce back from this negative voice as fast as possible. Okay, take this as a lesson from me, because you will not be able to shut down that negative voice. And I had spent years working on the wrong goal, and I was like, wait a second. This voice is here to stay. This voice is a good thing, but it's what I choose to do when this voice shows up that determines how great my brain health is in this moment. Lesson number 2 that I learned from building great brain health is that no good decision is ever made when you are in the sympathetic nervous system state. Let me explain to you what your nervous systems are if you are new to this concept. So you essentially have 2 main nervous systems. Okay, 2 main automatic nervous systems. One is the parasympathetic nervous system. So this is your calming system. This is your resting and digesting state. When you're feeling good, when you're in calm state, when you're eating food, this is a system that's turned on. Now, on the other hand is you have the sympathetic nervous system. This is your stress system. So anytime you experience any sort of stressor, this system turns right on. What you really want to be careful of, huge lesson that I learned over the years of working on my brain health. You can imagine, right? Imagine yourself being in this like really calm state where you're feeling good. The types of choices that you make for yourself are different than the types of choices that you make for yourself when you're in that like high stress state, when you're triggered, when you're not feeling your best. You have probably seen that difference in yourself of the choices that you make. And let's be honest here, girl, you'll probably make way better choices for your mind, your body, your soul, your life when you're in that parasympathetic state. So, what does this mean now, and how do you really carry this forward for you? You got to start noticing when you're feeling triggered. You got to start noticing when that sympathetic nervous system is turned on, and you got to give yourself space before you do anything about it. Because what happens for a lot of us, and tell me if you relate to this, the sympathetic nervous system turns on, you're starting to feel triggered, the heart starts beating faster, you might start sweating, or your hands get a little bit clammy and wet, you might feel like you can't really speak properly, or you can't really catch your breath, and then boom, you take some sort of action. That action might look like yelling at someone, sending that angry text, or just, turning towards food and starting to binge eat. When you're in that sympathetic mode, you are not making decisions that align with the highest version of you. You are not making decisions aligned with a high value woman. And so you need to start becoming really aware of when that nervous system gets turned on. And before you make any decision, before you decide to take any action, you need to shift your nervous system state. So that looks like you doing some sort of activity that calms that heightened nervous system response down so that you can take better action for yourself. Never, ever, 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 ever make a decision when that sympathetic nervous system is turned on. Honestly, this is like an art and practice on its own. I will be honest, I'm not perfect at it. I will sometimes make decisions when my sympathetic nervous system is turned on, and I immediately regret that decision. So make decisions when that parasympathetic nervous system is turned on. And how you can shift your nervous system state. This honestly looks different for everyone. So experiment and try to see different things that work for you. So for example, you could go on a walk, you could do some deep breathing, you could journal it out, you could call a friend, you can honestly do anything, take a hot shower, take a cold shower, honestly anything that helps you shift from that stress state to calm state. One of my favorites is putting on my headphones and dancing to a song. There is nothing like a fun dance and dancing like no one's watching to calm down that nervous system response. So calm that response down, and then from that parasympathetic state, Make that decision and decide what is the next best thing to do for you. Don't ever make decisions in that sympathetic nervous system state. You are going to save yourself so much trouble, so much heartache, so many future problems just by listening to this one simple tip. Lesson number 3 that I learned while building great brain health is that you want to stop negotiating with your brain and with your mind. This is by far one of the most powerful shifts that I made in my brain health to achieve really great brain health and the strategy that I was implementing. What happens to a lot of us, okay, I know you're gonna relate to this. Alarm clock rings in the morning, right? You set the alarm for 6, and all of a sudden that voice comes on in your head. That voice that's just like, oh, it's so comfy. Do you really need to get out of bed? We can just do that thing tomorrow. Maybe just sleep in, maybe just 10 more minutes, and then we'll actually get out of bed, and then you can do that workout. Or, you went on a walk yesterday, whatever, you don't need to work out today. Or you don't need to make yourself a breakfast, just stop by Timmy's, you can do that, just sleep in a little bit more, right? That voice comes on in our head, and we start to negotiate with our mind. We start to play out all these scenarios as to, how we can just avoid doing the thing that we're supposed to do, and coming up with all these other scenarios that sound better just so that we can spend an extra 10, 15, sometimes, let's be honest, an hour in bed. And then, lo and behold, we'll wake up, we're rushed, and the day just starts off on such a bad note. I know you relate to that. And this is just a small example of in the morning, but think about it. How many times during the day do you tell yourself you're gonna do stuff, but then you start negotiating with your mind? You start telling yourself, I'm gonna do it tomorrow, I'm gonna do it this day, that day, and you just negotiate. And instead of negotiating with your mind, you need to just do the freaking thing. Just take the freaking action, just do it. Stop thinking about doing it, stop thinking about all the other ways that you can do it, and just take the action. I wish I had a supplement or special medication or something to give you to help you make taking action easier, but I don't. One thing I can say though is that when you start taking action on a regular basis, when you just practice this as a habit, it becomes so much easier over time. This is why they say, right, just start small. Start telling yourself you're going to do one thing and actually commit to it, and you can do all the other things. The other thing that also happens too when you start to negotiate with your mind is that you end up destroying your integrity. Integrity means to keep the promises that you make to yourself. Integrity is at the core of self-confidence, self-worth, being a high-value woman. Integrity is at the very, very core of that. So if you disrupt your integrity, you're ruining your self-confidence, and you're basically telling yourself, yeah, we can't trust ourselves. When we say we're going to do things, we're not going to actually do them. And that just does not set up a good foundation for great brain health. When I stopped negotiating with my mind, and this has to be an everyday practice, because your brain will always want to make you stay comfortable. So I have to check in with myself every day and make sure I'm not negotiating with my mind. And I'll call myself out Basleen, girl, you're negotiating. I hear you. And we don't do this stuff anymore because we are a high value woman. Stop negotiating with your mind. I wish someone had told me this years and years ago, because I spent such a long time just negotiating with my mind, pushing things off, making things be more chaotic for myself, and just keeping myself stuck in this cycle of low self-worth. And it didn't have to be like that. And I'm hoping that by sharing this tip with you, and I can help you not negotiate with your mind, because as soon as you stop negotiating and as soon as you just commit, everything changes for you, girl. Lesson number 4 that I learned from building great brain health these past 10 years is that the nicer and kinder you are to yourself, the more that you will grow and change. Let that sink in. I'm gonna literally repeat that. The nicer that you are to yourself, the more that you will grow and change. Wow, what a different concept, because so many of us are just so used to being critical to ourselves. And this is me. This was me. Not is me. This was me. I used to be so critical to myself, and I still have to like notice that voice coming up, and my boyfriend will always point it out too, like, Basilian, you're being too hard on yourself. And I still get caught up in that. But we sometimes start to have this like deep set belief that the only way for us to be successful, the only way for us to grow and change is if we're really hard on ourselves. And if we're not hard on ourselves, we're not going to grow and change. And this belief needs to be popped, it needs to be burst, and it just needs to go away. Criticizing yourself is actually keeping you more stuck where you are now. When we are mean to ourselves, we don't change. When you are kind, when you are nice, you get curious and you look at what needs to improve and you support yourself, especially when you experience failures. When we are mean to ourselves, as soon as we get one failure, we're just like, not for me, bye. Like, no, you're not good enough. You don't deserve this. Why do this? Let's just go back to your old healthy habits and old ways. But when we are nice and kind to ourselves, when we slip up, we give ourselves, love and kindness, and we move through it. We don't go back to what was bad for us. And I think this is such a powerful shift. For years and years and years, I believed the only way for me to be successful was if I was mean to myself. And the meaner I was to myself, I noticed that the more I stayed stuck in where I was now. Criticism keeps you stuck. Kindness and love help you grow. Like, wow, what a powerful concept. Kindness and love help you grow. So how can you be more kind to yourself? The moment I started to choose to be kind to myself, to love myself, everything in my life started to shift around me. I started to get curious. I started to fulfill my needs and give myself the nourishment that I needed to grow, to continue to change, to continue to evolve. But if we're mean to ourselves, we keep ourselves small. This is how you're keeping yourself small. Does that resonate with you? Does that maybe like even sting a little bit, hurt, maybe bring up some emotions that you're keeping yourself small by being really mean to yourself? If you want to grow and give yourself permission to be seen, to live the life that you want to live, then girl, you have to be nicer to yourself. So notice that self-talk, notice that inner criticism coming up, and change it to something that empowers you, that is just nicer to you. And you don't have to go from like, I hate myself to, I love myself. It can be something neutral, like, this moment is hard for me right now, but I'm learning to love myself through this. Something even neutral like that, right? If it feels like a really big jump, if you're, for example, feeling like I feel worthless, maybe in this moment you change that I am worthless to, this moment is hard right now, but I'm going to do something that makes me feel worthy. Or I'm working on feeling worthy in this hard moment right now. That's more neutral than you just jumping straight to, I feel worthy, I'm amazing, right? Sometimes that can feel like a really big lie. So tune into these things for yourself. Start noticing that self-talk, and as much as possible, look at how you can be kind to yourself. The kinder you are to yourself, the more that you love yourself, the more that you give yourself space and capacity to expand and grow. The last lesson number 5 that I learned from building great brain health is that you have got to build a strong community that supports you. And I think it's great, look at your family. If you have a partner, cool. If you don't, that's also okay. But I'm really talking about like that girl community, that powerful woman community around you that supports you. There is nothing like that. And I think, really, we as women tend to be so mean and so hard on ourselves. And mean to each other too, right? Or really mean to each other. And I think it's so important that you surround yourself around women who lift you, who help you be the best version of you. And something I've learned in trying to build really great brain health is how important that is. When I start to feel like I am not worthy, I'm not good enough, I tend to isolate, right? Because it's just like, Why should I be around other people? I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. So let me just isolate. And I start to feel really alone and lonely. And I start to feel like no one around me loves me. And that same story, that same cycle just plays over and over in my mind. And so one of the best things that you can do is to start cultivating and building that strong community. You will not be able to achieve great brain health on your own. Straight up. Like, you can't. And I'm only saying that from my experience. I reached out to so many different people. I've invested tens of thousands of dollars on my brain health to talk to the right mentors and the coaches and get the right support for myself so that I can build really great brain health. And that is what is needed. You need a strong community who is by your side so that when you're hard on yourself, when you fail, there's a community by your side telling you, you're amazing, get back up, we're right here with you, and push through it because we believe in you. There is nothing more powerful than having a community who believes so deeply in you and in your success and in your ability to build great brain health and feel good again. So you need to think about how you can cultivate that community. And a great first step to start off with, and I reflect on this every single year where I look at the community of women that I surround myself with and ask myself, like, are they supporting me in the ways that I want them to support me? Are they helping me be that best version of myself? Or are they taking away from all of this? Because if at any point I feel like they are, then this is just not a good friendship for me. And so, I never burn bridges or anything like that. But it's so important that you build a strong community. Start looking and becoming aware of, are these people really supporting me in the best way? Are they helping me be the best version of myself? Or are they taking me further away from that? Because it's red flags if they're taking you further away from that, and you want to be really cautious and mindful and aware of these relationships, right? So be really, really mindful of that. Build that strong community. A really great place to get started is start joining things that you really enjoy. Do you like to do yoga? Go to your yoga class. Do you like to do arts and crafts or paint? Like, pick up these classes and do these things and put yourself out there. Put yourself in communities and environments where you're going to meet like-minded people, and especially like-minded women. I, joined a co-working spot, and I've been able to meet such an incredible group of people there. And, we have similar interests. We're all either, working from home, or we have our own businesses and we're just trying to figure stuff out together. And it's so awesome to just throw ideas to people. So I really encourage you, do that, okay? Build that strong community. And I wish right from the get-go, I really took my community more seriously. And I didn't know how important it was. And now I do. And now in my life, I'm trying to be way more intentional about connecting with other women in my life, especially the women that make me feel good about myself, that we have really great conversations with, and really trying to upkeep all of these relationships because it is so important. Life is no fun if you have to go through it alone. Your community is what supports you, what empowers you, builds you up when you feel like you've fallen down. And having that great community of women is so, so important. If you're a woman who is sick and tired of working on her brain health alone, I hear you, girl. I get you. Let me be here for you and support you. Use the link below to book a free brain health assessment with me. And let's talk about what high self-worth and elevating your self-worth by healing your brain looks like for you. This is everything that I had for you. These are my top 5 lessons I learned from really building great brain health these past many, many years. I hope that these have helped you. Don't forget to book your free brain health assessment with me so we can help you build your great brain health so that you can go out there and create the most amazing life of your dreams.